Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting week of doing a live show, the live stream here on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitch and Twitter. My name is Dr. Kojo Sarfo, and this is Breakfast with Dr. Kojo, the show that I do every Monday at 6 a.m. PST. I pushed it back an hour because Ghana was playing, but Ghana won, so I'm in a great mood. So I'm excited and I'm ready to get to it. I've had a nice little vacation and I'm ready to get back. I miss you all. It was weird not streaming for a little bit, but I missed you all and I'm ready to get back to it. So Jennifer, what's going on? Morning, Jennifer. Morning, Kat. I'm gonna drop my little comment here. Go ahead and let me know who you are in the comment section and let me know where you're checking in from, and we can go ahead and get started. Yee! I must have heard you while you were at work. Ohima, yeah, that's right. Xiaomi, good morning. Xiaomi, Brooke, morning. Kristen, morning. Where's everybody checking in from? I am checking in from sunny. Well, it's not sunny yet, but I'm checking in from what I hope will be a very sunny day here in Los Angeles, California. And it's early. It's 7 o'clock, so who knows? The sun may come up, but right now we don't know. Brooke from Arkansas, okay. We got SG from Memphis, Tennessee. We got Fatu from Minnesota. Kat from Michigan. What's up, Kat? Ghana all day. Selena from Houston. I just that's I have a bad. Hey, Jaslyn, we're gonna talk about this because I had a bit of a situation as I was coming back to Los Angeles last night from Atlanta. I was dealing with some people that were kind of rude, and I had to use some of the tips I'm gonna talk about today in the live stream. We're talking about anger management, and I had to use these tips myself because I was this close to flipping out, and I'm like, Kojo, we can't flip out. I can't do this, right? All right. Brooklyn in the house, South Carolina. Felix, we won. We won. Michigan in the house. Biggest thing I struggle with. Kayla, well, I hope you can learn from this show, and I'll be taking my own notes mentally. We got Rachel from New York. Couldn't see it. Kirsten, I have not seen this, but we will talk. We'll have live streams where we're talking about sexual abuse and people what to do after you've experienced sexual or emotional or physical abuse. Ghana all day, yay! Right? Texas in the house, Michigan, Alaska. Jack, I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. New Jersey, Leilani, what's going on? Leilani's from Tennessee. She's one of my moderators. Are awesome. Sandy Lake, Ontario. Okay, so we got some Canadians in the house. Perfect, right? So we're going to talk about 3 ways to manage anger. You have to understand that when you're angry, there's very little that you could do that would be productive, right? But when you're angry, you're working off of emotion and you don't have time to think about what you actually want to do. And a lot of things can happen when we're angry. A lot of times, I used to work at jail back in Augusta, Georgia. I used to work in a jail, and I had a lot of patients who were inmates, and a lot of the crimes that they committed were like quick, impulsive decisions. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the crimes, but a lot of bad things can happen when you feel an emotion and you're like, I'm going to act on it, right? So we have to buy ourselves some time. That's one of the tips. But we're going to talk about ways to manage anger. Jacqueline, thank you for having me. I miss you as well. I'm happy to be back. And yeah, Leilani, I had a great Thanksgiving and a really good birthday. I really, really appreciate you all. And Chef Boing Boing says, I'm Jazzy for short. I struggle with borderline personality disorder, so I'm sure this video will help me a lot. So, Jazzy, thank you very much. This video is for you and for a lot of people. So when you talk about people who may struggle to, who's going to struggle with anger management, right? Now, if you think about the mental health conditions where people may struggle a lot with this, you think of things like borderline personality disorder, you think of ADHD, right? I mean, I can relate to that. You think about even depression, right? Because when you're depressed, you're easily irritable, right? Small things can frustrate you. Before you know it, you're in a mood, right? And you may have done something that you didn't want to do, right? So hopefully, I have a lot of people here who want a lot of borderline personality disorder content, and I think this can help out. I really think this can help out. Hey, from France. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Ashley, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Miss Farr. It looks like you're having a baby too, because you're doing this in the picture. So if that's the current picture, congratulations on the blessing. Congrats on the blessing. All right, let me get the first tip in here. Yes, I struggle with anger. Yeah, same here. This is something that I struggle with, and let me explain real quickly before I put in the first tip what happened at the airport yesterday, right? So I'm traveling with a dog, right? And traveling is very stressful, just in general for me, right? So even though I do it a lot, it's stressful. I'm traveling with a dog, and then somebody at the counter, was kind of rude, right? I don't want to get into this whole thing of Delta customer service. Either way, the person was kind of rude, and I didn't appreciate what they said. She said something to me, right? Because my dog took a number two on the floor at the airport in Atlanta. She said something to me. I turned around and I'm like, I know she wasn't talking to me. And then I remembered I could hear my mom's voice, saying, "What would Jesus do?" And I could hear my publicist's voice saying, "Kojo, do you really want to pick this battle?" I'm like, "All right, I'm just gonna chill out," But I stopped to think to myself, like, people can say some rude things sometimes, but it all depends on your reaction, right? Now I could have blown up and made a big scene, right? Or I could have just let it go, which I was what I did, right? But it hurt my pride to just like let it go because I'm like, you can't talk to me like this in a public setting. Like I felt compelled to say something back, but I'm like, all right, coach, I need to practice what I preach online because I was pissed off. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm like, all right, I gotta practice what I preach online and just chill, right? Just chill. And Brooke says, I get so overstimulated and then get frustrated so easy. Oh yeah, this right here is this is one of the for me the worst things about ADHD because I struggle with the same thing too. I was at the airport, I was overstimulated, I get frustrated easily. Like I picked up on this about myself to the point that I remember was it like a year and a half ago? I was the whatever girl I was dating at the time. I remember going on a trip with her. We went to Arizona, and the whole trip, like the whole time we went there, flying there and flying back, I was super quiet. And she's like, "Why are you quiet?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm just trying to get through this trip because I get easily overstimulated, and I can get irritable, and I might say things that I don't want to say. So I'm just gonna be quiet because I know how quickly I can go from 0 to 100, right?" Um, Congrats. Oh, Ghana. David, what a game. What a game. What a game. What a game. And Brooke says, you start to know your limits after telling my husband I'm done. I gotta go or I'm gonna blow it. I'm overstimulated. So let's go ahead and give Brooke the first love of the show because this is a great example of what people should do in relationships, especially if you have ADHD. So let's give Brooke the first love of the show for the week. That communication is really what keeps relationships alive, right? Or Brooke could have chosen to say, you know what, I'm not going to tell my husband anything. And when something happens, when a small thing happens, I'm just going to flip out. And then your husband's going to be like, what in the world is going on, right? So communication is very important. So the very first tip on 3 ways to manage anger, right? Number one, right here, you have to buy yourself time to think. Anything works, right? So this is very similar to when people ask me about what to do if somebody's having a panic attack, right? You want to use things like grounding, look at what's in the area, look at what you can smell, what can you feel, right? You put yourself in the present moment. And for this in this way, right? If we're talking about anger management, you're gonna buy yourself some time, right? So you're gonna buy yourself some time if you're just stopping to think, right? I just need some time to think. Like I'm angry right now, and if I do anything, whatever I do is probably not going to be productive. Like whatever I do when I'm angry can either get me in an argument, it can get me in trouble, leading all the way up to maybe getting you arrested, right? So you have to buy yourself some time to think. Anything works, right? Literally, if you're upset and you're angry and you look in the corner and you see something hilarious, right? Take some time to really focus in on that and laugh. Like laugh. Allow yourself to be in the present and enjoy that moment, right? Because it's gonna bring you right back to reality. Because whatever you want to do while you're angry is probably not what you actually want to do, but is this what you feel like you have to do in that moment to express yourself, right? But we're all well, some of us may not be adults, but if you're watching this live stream, at some point you will be an adult and you will be responsible for your actions, right? Even as a child, you are, but the older you become, the stakes become a bit higher, right? So buy yourself time to think. Anything works. Anything works, right? And Amy, you said off topic. It is, but no worries. I will do a live stream on this actually because I have some thoughts on this. Let me let's take a picture of this real quick. But sometimes a bit complicated. Sometimes medicine is the right choice, but I'm also a fan of not pushing meds too early. So we'll have a live stream about this. And yeah, Brittany, you're not alone. SG, you're not alone. It's a very human thing to be upset and to be angry. In case that someone I care about thinks they might be experiencing intermittent explosive disorder symptoms on the form of verbal outbursts. Do you have any advice for them when they're in the midst of feeling angry? Yeah, Katie, those are the three tips that I'm giving today. The first one is buy yourself some time to think. Literally, buy yourself some time to think. I remember back when I was in school, I had a patient who I didn't get to spend a lot of time with this patient, but the patient was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder. And I didn't get to talk to the patient a lot. Like it wasn't even my patient, right? But the psychiatrist who I was rounding with, it was his patient. And I remember the patient was pleasant, while talking to me, but the patient was released. And then I think a couple months later, the patient had murdered somebody in the city. And I was like, oh, wow. And I'm not saying that everybody with intermittent explosive disorder, is, violent or, has tendencies to do things like that. Right. But it still comes down to the same principle of buy yourself some time. Whatever you want to do in that moment is probably not what you actually wanted to do. Right. But you were just so upset that that's what you felt like you had to do. Right. So, number one, like I said, you have to buy yourself some time. You just have to buy yourself some time. And Amy, no worries. That's a fantastic question. I really like that question. And I really like that. I have a lot of thoughts on that, and my ADHD brain is trying to go off topic, but we will do a live stream about that. And Jasmine said, my sister made me so upset that I wanted to put her in her place, but I didn't put her in her place because she's argumentative and I don't have the patience to go back and forth. I would just knock her out. Okay, we'll come back to that part where you want to knock out your sister, all right? But I didn't because my 11-year-old daughter was watching me. It was very hard not to respond to my sister's foolishness. All right, so Jasmine, I'm going to go ahead and give two love of the shows, right? I'm going to give a love of the show to you, right, for being able to have that restraint. And I'm going to give a second love of the show to your 11-year-old daughter. And I'm going to tell you why, right? So first, a double love of the show to you and your daughter. So what your daughter was your daughter was a distraction, right? So this is you versus your sister. Your daughter's not even in the picture, but your daughter was a distraction, right? And your daughter was watching you. So you're like, all right, I should knock her out right now. But my daughter is watching and I'd probably be a bad example. So I'm not going to focus on anything right now, right? I'm not going to knock her out. I'm just going to let her have it, right? So your daughter helped out a lot because your daughter prevented you from doing something that you didn't want to do, right? I doubt that you actually want to knock out your sister, right? Like this is not, Foreman, Mike Tyson, like that's your sister. But as we know it, family sometimes they can piss us off. That's normally who really gets underneath our skin. People closest to us, people that we love a lot, right? Because we really feel whatever we're feeling in the moment. So I'm so happy that your daughter was there, and I'm so happy that you had the restraint. And maybe whatever your sister was saying was foolishness, right? I can give you that, but we know that when we put our hands on people and we knock them out, that good things don't happen. And I'm always looking to avoid situations where an altercation could happen, right? So you have to give yourself some credit, right? Because in that moment, you may have had every right to get physical, but you didn't. You have to give yourself a lot of credit right there. As he says, my problem is when I get angry, I try to retreat, isolate, and withdraw. But there are times when I can't walk away. I'm undiagnosed, but I realize that my anger is explosive at times and I can become violent. I hate this about myself. Well, so SG, you know what I'll say about this? I understand how you feel in the moment, but I wouldn't hate this about yourself. It means that you really feel things, right? And the ability to feel things is a beautiful thing, right? With certain, mental health conditions and, I'm trying to think of catatonia, right? If somebody's catatonic and they're not able to, express, feel things, and the condition schizophrenia, right? A lot of times people are not able to feel things or they may not have the appropriate type of response to a certain thing, right? So the ability to feel is a beautiful thing, right? Now we have to just make sure we can manage our anger, right? So for you, if you have all this pent up anger, how do we use that anger for something that's productive, right? Maybe we can do something like exercising, right? That's the first thing that comes to mind. And exercising really is the second tip, So that leads me to the second tip. Let me address Brett real quick. Brett, hey, the Titans lost, and I'm still in a good mood. It was a really, really close game. We lost to the Bengals again, so that I was angry about that. But hey, like you said, Brett, we're still 7-4, and I think USA plays tomorrow. But whenever USA plays, if my USA jersey is coming, I'll put in my US jersey so I can root for them. Because a win sends the U.S. to the next round, right? So hopefully U.S. doesn't play Ghana, because then I'm like, my two teams are playing. But hopefully U.S. can win this one. All right, and let me do the second anger tip, and then I'm going to read the comments. Some people are saying something about ADHD. All right, Tiffany and Kelsey, I'll get to you in just a second. All right, the second tip on managing anger is get some exercise. Get some exercise, right? And by this, I don't mean like going to the gym in the middle of a potential outburst and going to lift weights. I mean going to the side and going for a walk. Just let your body work out the anger, right? So like SG, perfect example, said that they can get explosive sometimes, right? What if instead of punching somebody, you drop down and you did a couple of push-ups, right? Did a couple of sit-ups, you stretched out for a little bit, you do that for 10 to 15 minutes. By the time you're done with that, you're kind of tired, you're a little bit, winded out. And then you don't have as much of a desire to go in to knock somebody out, right? You may still have the desire there, but you might be like, nah, and exercise is doing naturally for you what a mood stabilizer would do. Sometimes this is why I think in my mind when we give some people things like Zyprexa or Lamictal or lithium, or when you're giving out a mood stabilizer, you would hope that it helps to kind of like level out the individual, especially when it's an antipsychotic. But I think that by doing exercise, you can naturally do, and I'm not telling you all to replace your antipsychotic with exercise. What I'm saying is exercise can be very, very helpful when it comes to helping you work off some of that anger in a productive way, right? Because there's nothing productive about punching somebody, even though we may have that feeling. Like I get that feeling a couple of times a week where things will happen. I'm like, what? But then I realize I'm not a violent person. I don't want to actually do this, but I'm just a human being going through these emotions at this time, right? And my spouse has such deep-seated anger that it was less normal when a fight wasn't picked on a given day. Wow. Me with ADHD, easily overstimmed, but extremely self-aware and always communicating how to de-escalate, couldn't prevent the fight, flight, freeze, fawn. As he would then call me pathetic or get mad. Ooh, Mickey Ficky. You don't ever want to call your partner pathetic, but let me keep going on. So after 9 years, finally said enough. The partner you pick is so crucial to success. Getting a divorce currently, finally feel a weight lifting. So Kelsey, very, very sorry to hear about, what happened in your marriage. And there's a line there that really speaks for itself. The partner you pick is so crucial to success. It's so important. And that's why I make videos talking about how to talk to your partner with ADHD, how to talk to your partner with bipolar disorder, how to talk to your partner with schizophrenia, how to talk to your partner with borderline personality disorder, because people have to realize that if you have one of these conditions, you don't like BPD doesn't have you, ADHD doesn't have you, you have the condition, right? So you have to figure out, all right, this condition is not going anywhere, so I have to live with it. And a part of me is also accepting the fact that I have this condition and this is just how things are going to be, right? So you have to accept me and you have to know how to communicate with me, but people weren't taught how to communicate with people with ADHD. I never learned this in school. Instead they taught us about the planets and, all kinds of cursive. I mean, things that are important, but I wish we would have learned these things when we were in school, but we didn't. So now we have to learn it as adults, right? So I'm very sorry to hear this. And, I'm definitely inspired to make more videos about how to talk to your partner with ADHD, how to talk to your child, how to talk to a parent with ADHD, because sometimes until you see it, we just don't know, right? So I'm happy that you're doing better now. Yeah, like as you said, I'm happy that you're free now, and hopefully, whenever you're ready to start dating again, you can find somebody who understands how to love you and how to talk to you in the way that can be productive, right? Katie says, I appreciate it so much when people I love learn. Oh, Kate, ooh, this is so important because, and I don't want to get too sidetracked because, like, my ADHD brain can really take things like far left, but a lot of times when you just to talk about ADHD real quick, and we'll get back to anger management. But when you do things throughout your day that are ADHD related, I forgot my keys, I forgot my wallet. Like my wallet's been here for a while, right? So like I've been places where I'll go and I'm like, hey, do y'all have Apple Pay? And they're like, oh no. And I'm like, all right, I can't buy it. I don't have any money, so I can't buy it. I just have to go back home because I left my wallet at home, right? And in these moments when you're by yourself, if you have the necessary tools, you can tell yourself, all right, I just forgot. I'm not going to beat myself up. But if you're dating somebody and that person doesn't understand you, that's the perfect time for them to say, oh, you're weird. Like you can't keep yourself. You lose your keys, lose your wallet, you're late, and you feel like you're less than, right? But you're not less than. You may have ADHD or whatever, but nothing is wrong with you, right? Nothing was ever wrong with you. Your brain just works differently, right? So when people around us can understand that, like Katie said, it really feels good. Um, Ashley says, can we go into fact that anger is secondary emotion? All right, Ashley, let's talk about it. And well, Ashley, you know what? I want to see. Can you elaborate on this point? Because I have something I want to say, but elaborate on this point, and then I want to see if we're thinking the same thing. All right. And I go to the gym for months at a time and walk miles and miles, and I'll go a few months, do no exercise at all. I'm all nothing, and I get burnt out. All right, Brooks. So, like going to the gym for months, like going to the gym is a commitment. Like after this, I have to go to the gym, right? Because that's just my routine now. But it is a commitment. So even if you can go outside and just take a quick brisk walk, that will count, right? And after you do that, you'll say, "Oh, I exercised today." And you can give yourself credit for exercising today. When I'm angry, if I clean, right? So, Kat, this is perfect. This is perfect because if you're angry and you're cleaning, you've used that energy for something productive, right? Because now instead of you punching somebody or saying something that you didn't want to say, your room is clean. The room that you haven't been able to clean for a whole week, you finally got the room cleaned, right? Kara, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Kara. And Tiffany, there's no difference. ADHD is just the correct term now, but ADD is what people use to refer to the inattentive type of ADHD. I hope that makes sense. If that makes sense, let me know. No, I don't think you missed anything, Leilani. I don't think you missed anything. I agree with this. I definitely agree with this. My daughter has ADHD and anxiety, and she makes me angry and disappointed often. I too have both, and parenting her is difficult. I feel like my parenting style with ADHD and anxiety to a child with the same diagnosis is explosive and dangerous to the development of the child. But I don't know what more to do. She expresses self hate because I'm constantly angry and disappointed. So, Jasleen, you know what I'll say to this? If you have ADHD and anxiety, and your daughter has it as well, what you could do if you're comfortable with it is you could explain to her some of the struggles that you may have, without making your child be a parent, right? You have to tell them about, oh, I go through all these things and I'm doing this for you. Like your child should be a child, right? But when you have a struggle that is related to ADHD and or anxiety, and you let your child know, hey, I was so overstimulated today, and that's why I screamed at you, and I'm sorry. Then when your daughter grows up, or your son, when your child grows up and they have a similar issue, then they'll say, oh, mom used to struggle with this too, but mom gave me the tips and tricks on how to beat this type of issue, right? Because now we're being vulnerable, we're being transparent. Like that's the whole point and purpose of this live stream in this community. I haven't seen people talk about things like this. So like we're actually being truthful. So if you can tell your child what's going on, then when they go through the same things, then hopefully they'll hate themselves a little less. And we can all start to accept ourselves a little bit more. All right. And the third way to manage anger, let me drop this in here real quick and then I'll get back to the comments. The third way to manage anger is recognize when you're calming down and now you can speak, right? So this is very important. This is very important. If you're angry, like I was at the airport yesterday, if you're angry, that's not the time to speak because what you'll say is probably something that you'll want to take back, and we can't get mulligan back on words, right? After you say something that's potentially devastating, you let it fly. You can't take it back, right? So when you're in the middle of like an episode, right, and you're extremely angry, that's not the time to speak, right? Maybe go and write a letter to yourself or send that angry text to somebody, but write out the text and before you send it, just delete it, right? But you have to figure out, all right, this is all about learning yourself. You have to understand, all right, I did a little bit of exercise. I went outside, I ran or I walked for 5 minutes, and now I feel a lot better. Okay, all right, cool. Now I can speak. Now I can say something. But when you force yourself to say things before you're ready, you're gonna find that you run into a lot of trouble and you can damage a lot of relationships. So sometimes it's not even the fact that you're upset and you want to punch somebody, because it doesn't really work like that. It's more so I'm upset and I want to say something to you just to let you know how wrong you were. Like I need to let you know that you pissed me off, for lack of a better term. But if you buy yourself time, which is the first tip, right? You buy yourself time and you exercise, which is the second tip, and then you recognize, all right, I'm calming down now. I think I can speak. That right there can go a long way. That can go a long way. And let me see. Your videos and this community have really helped myself and others to feel seen and also provide different ways to learn how these skills. I'm so grateful to have stumbled upon your reels on Facebook this year. Kelsey, Kelsey, I appreciate you. Wow. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture right there and smile so that the picture looks good. I'm gonna send that to some people at Facebook because I really do appreciate the people at Facebook, allow me to post reels. And I don't know how the algorithm works. I have enough concerns to try and figure out how to hack this algorithm, but I'm just so grateful that people appreciate my content about ADHD and anxiety and all these things that we don't talk about enough. And I'm grateful for this Facebook community. I'm so happy. And like Leilani's saying here, like if you're going through, anger, depression, isolation, ADHD, anxiety, BPD, any other personality disorder, like you're not weird, you're not alone. You just need a community where you can be yourself, right? Like the world you live in, the way the world's set up is just not conducive to your success. That's just the truth of the matter, right? So we have to learn the tips and tricks and have the tools necessary that allow us to thrive. It's like we're creating a version of this world or a new world where we can be successful. So I'm very grateful to Facebook. I do my best to let them know anytime I get a chance to talk to the people there that I'm grateful, because without them I wouldn't be able to meet you all, right? And this is the Discord link. The Discord is a place where we can all come together and throw different ideas, and that's where we can congregate as a community. So that's the link for the Discord server. Let me see what Leilani said. My 8-year-old son started consulting in October, and he's been doing great. He definitely needs to be medicated. It's been years of pushing off getting evaluated, but I knew he had ADHD and needed to be treated. We pushed it off to make sure it wasn't just a phase due to moving since we're in the military and obviously COVID. So I said I was gonna speak of this later, but just real quick, I think this is really so. First of all, Leilani, thank you for sharing. But when you have, it's different when you're choosing to get medicated yourself versus for your child, right? Because a lot of times when it's your child, you're like, oh my gosh, this is my child, and they're young, and an 8-year-old is probably in third grade. So if they were exhibiting those symptoms beforehand in first or second grade, you may worry that it's a little bit too young to like medicate a child, right? But that's why it all goes back to what you and your provider discuss, right? If your doctor tells you that, all right, your child's 7, but I strongly recommend that this may be helpful, you can listen to it, or you can say, like, let me get some more time. Let COVID, kind of, blow by a little bit. Let's make sure we're done moving, just so we can make sure that the irritability or the disorganization or the lack of focus is not really coming from the external environment, right? So a lot of people so Leilani can speak on this, but a lot of people who haven't been to a provider, to a doctor, and spoken about this issue don't know that when you go in there, like it's our job is to take care of you all, right? We're not in there to make ourselves look good. So we're in there to, meet you all halfway and figure out what's really the best for the child and for the family. So sometimes a doctor can say, "Oh, yeah, let's give a 7-year-old, Ritalin or whatever," and you can say, "Oh, can we wait a little bit?" And that's a perfectly fine thing to say. You don't have to like take everything that they say and run with it. You can talk to your provider, and you all collectively can come up with something that can be very helpful. Discord, yeah, I'm a big fan of this, and I'm learning how to make this thing work too, as well. Denise, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Denise. I said Delise. Denise. I'm sorry, I said Delise. Jacqueline, thank you so much. And when I was off for the past week and I wasn't making content, I had all these ideas in my head, like I want to do this, I want to do that, and now that I'm back, I can't wait to make some of these videos for you all. I have I got a lot of videos for y'all. Let me click this comment real quick, and then can somebody drop in the magic word so we can get that water break in? Before I get this comment, let me see. Click what Emily said. I'm finally going to go get on a wait list for a therapist, thinking I may have undiagnosed BPD. So, Emily, whether you have BPD or not, I think you deserve a love of the show just for taking that step, right? So let's all drop the clapping hands emoji for Emily in the comment section, and we'll give her a love of the show. All right, Brooke says, all right, I'll get to the water break just in a second. I think you're right by picking a partner is so important. I think that's why my mom was married 3 times, because she has ADHD and borderline, and 2 of her husbands would hit her. Sorry to hear that, Brooke. And she just says whatever and does whatever, and they couldn't handle that he had anger and probably hit because he was mildly mean to them and would pour salt on the room. Not giving excuses, but I kind of get it. They both had major issues and couldn't handle each other. Picking a good partner, yeah, picking a good partner is so important, and having people who understand you is important. And I do want to say, if like we're talking about, like physical abuse here, if ever you're on a live stream and something that you read is triggering, feel free to step off or let me know, or maybe even send me a message on Discord, so that way I know what's triggering and we can navigate around that. All right, y'all, it's time for the water break. I never drank this one before, actually. I gotta wash this. Never mind. I'm gonna go with the sparkling water then. All right, so the water break is a chance for us to pause and stay hydrated, because we may forget to hydrate throughout the day, just as individuals who are so busy. All right, so cheers, y'all. So I'm not taking on clients right now. I actually do have a New York license, believe it or not. I'm not taking on clients right now. I haven't seen patients since March, but I keep all my licenses active, and I have a master plan. I got a master plan when it comes to healthcare, how I want to leave my legacy within healthcare. But right now, I'm going to need a lot more money to pull it off, to pull off what I want to do. But I'm not taking on patients right now. But eventually, I'm praying on something. Hopefully, that can be very helpful to a lot of people. So until then, I'm just going to keep educating on social media and figuring out, interesting and fun ways to push the message across. Oh, yeah, and Leilani, thank you for saying that. But yeah, I need some more money to do what I need to do, because I have my thoughts about insurance, and like my way of helping people is a little bit different from how things work, but that different conversation for a different day. All right, let me answer these two quick questions from Kristen and Emily, real quick. How do you control emotions that are quick to anger or annoyance or stress? All right, so Kristen, if you're feeling a certain way, I would allow myself to feel that way. Like when I'm angry, I need to feel that anger. I need to feel that hurt. If I'm grieving, I need to feel that, especially with grief, right? Like I need to feel that. I need to just feel whatever I'm going through, right? So what I say is, a lot of the emotions will come through and feel what you're feeling. But just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean you can make somebody else's day horrible, right? So sometimes we do have to step to the side and catch ourselves. And on days where when I don't have it, like I'll step to the side, like if I have to. I've never had to do this, but if I have to cancel a live stream because I was just in a pissy mood, I'll do that, right? I want to give people the best of what I have, right? So sometimes you have to just take a step back, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Because if you try and fight that emotion, it becomes more frustrating. But you may have to just give yourself some time to go to the side, Kristen. But we still need to feel what we're feeling, right? And what's that second question? I can't find it. Someone says, "What's your take on pot and ADHD?" I have a lot of thoughts about cannabis and ADHD, and I posted some videos on that. But we'll have some more live streams on that because that's a very popular. I'm wrong. It's a very popular topic, so I'll have some more videos on that, and I'll make sure to bring my notes as well. Let me answer this question real quick. What should I do if my doctor refuses to refill my medications? All right, so let's talk about some reasons why your doctor may refuse to refill the meds, right? So sometimes maybe you went to a primary care doctor who put you on a couple of psychiatric medications and said, we'll give you Zoloft, and Zoloft is like one of the basics, right? So let's say your primary care doctor put you on Zoloft and said, all right, I'll refill it a couple of times, but I need you to find like a psychiatrist or a psych NP or a psych PA, or a specialist to really take care of this issue. So after 3 months, they may stop refilling it. Or, some providers may be uncomfortable with refilling certain prescriptions. It might be controlled or whatever the case may be. But if your provider refuses to refill your meds, then you have every right to go to another doctor and say, hey, and you can explain your situation. I was taking so-and-so, and for whatever reason, this doctor wouldn't refill my meds. And one doctor could be more comfortable, like writing a prescription for something that another provider wasn't comfortable doing, right? So I think a lot of times we forget that we can go to other providers in the area, right? Sometimes you can go to a doctor and really like that doctor, but you're like, I don't know if he or she is for me. Let me try a different doctor, right? So sometimes doctors will be uncomfortable to like refill certain medications for whatever reasons, right? Like, with COVID, like it changed a lot of things, right? So people were able to, like, I was able to be in California, right? And I could write I write prescriptions for controlled substances in like Virginia or Arizona or different states because of the COVID provisions. But even at that time, I remember I was talking to a friend of mine who's a psychiatrist, and we were like a little confused because I was telling her, I'm like, all right, so what happens when the COVID provisions are done and you have patients in New York and Arizona and Virginia, and you can no longer write them like prescriptions that are controlled, or how do you transfer care? Like a lot of it is just kind of like out there, and we're all just kind of figuring out, the best way to go about things. So those are some reasons why your doctor may not want to refill the meds, but just know that if you're not getting what you want, you can always go to a different provider, right? Because like y'all are not going to doctors to make doctors rich, right? The whole point is to get help, right? So if it's not helpful, then you might want to bounce out and find somebody else. All right. I like what Kay said. This is a great way to end the live stream. For anybody who's watching this, you are a great worth, and you're never a mistake, right? So just keep that in mind, right? And that's what a lot of my content is going to be aimed at. Like these conditions, a lot of them are not going anywhere, right? Even if they're in remission, the depression, you might have chronic depression, you might just have these things, ADHD, BPD, whatever it is. But as long as you understand that you're still worthy and that's just a condition, you have it, it doesn't have you. If you can understand that, then my work here is done, right? I'm still gonna keep posting videos, but like my objective has been, accomplished, right? And let me see what Leon said. Just starting out positive affirmations can help, even if you don't believe them at first. Eventually, you will start to and will embody it. I at one point was really low, right when I was going through the process of getting diagnosed with ADHD, and I had to do affirmations. And at first, it felt silly looking in the mirror and saying them, and even started crying because I didn't believe them. But eventually, they really helped. Yeah, I really agree with this. So Leilani, love this show. For sharing. And no, I when I went to a therapist for the first time, I went through the whole affirmation thing where I had to say I'm loved, I'm worthy, and I thought it was BS. I'm like, this is crazy, And I haven't used the word crazy, but after I did it over and over, I'm like, I guess I am loved. Like, I guess I am a pretty cool guy, right? So the affirmations do work. They definitely do work. So, all right, okay. All right, I'm looking at my okay, all right. It's time to start. We gotta go through these emails. All right, y'all. So it's time for me to start the day. I hope you all have a fantastic and wonderful day. If you're watching this on the back end, I hope you've had a fantastic day thus far. And we'll be back live again tomorrow night for the late night show, Dr. Kojo. And then once again on Thursday night. And I would like to do a gaming stream sometime this week as well. So until the next time, you all take care. Have a fantastic day. Go out today and do the best that you can. Your best is good enough. I hope we have a fantastic day. I hope we have a fantastic day today. My voice is out from the Ghana game. And I'll see you all tomorrow night. Peace. Love y'all.